a deep gratitude to Dr. Martin Shaw, and he is a writer, he's a storyteller, mythologist, and really stunning at what he does. And so this is my I don't know that it's poor rendition, but this is my rendition of a story that he tells, which I feel might be like an anthem or a signifier story for what I'm pointing to. And I'm not pointing to the moon, I'm pointing to the mycelium network. So it's the story of the fox and the hunter. So there's one day, and there's a hunter, and he's out hunting, and he's doing a great job, and he's a swarthy guy, burly, sexy, in my opinion. I don't know that that's in his story, but so he's a hunter, and he's standing on the mountain, and he's finished a day of hunting, and he's tired. He has some perspiration, perhaps a little aroma of his own from the hunting, and he's walking home, and he looks over and he sees blue smoke. Well, the only house that exists is his, and that's not something you want to see, blue smoke coming out of your house, because that means that somebody's in your house. So he starts making his way back home, and he walks in, and when he walks in, his clothes are neatly folded, his dishes are done, the floors have been mopped clean, but there's no one to be found. The next day, he goes back out and he does his hunting thing. It's another good hunting day. He's been well tended to in a certain way, so he doesn't have to think about those things. So he has all of his energy and attention there for the hunting. He hunts. He's walking back home. He's forgotten about everything that happened. He looks over and he sees a line of blue smoke again. This time he doesn't know. He doesn't know if what he'll find is threatening. He walks in, he's got his big burly coat on. He's got his heavy jeans, his dirt on his boots, and he walks in. And his house is clean again. And his table has been cleared. His laundry is done again. A fire, everything is ready for him. Still no one to be found. Next morning, same story. He goes out. This time, though, it's on his mind that there may be blue smoke when he comes over that mountain again. Lo and behold, there is. Standing. Okay, he's going home. He makes his trek home. He's carrying his carcass, and there's some blood dripping. He walks in. Only this time there's somebody in his house. He looks, and what he sees is this river of red. What we would consider long, beautiful red hair flowing down someone's back who's there tending to his home. And this being like a fox can sense that there's something there. And so like a fox, she turns. When she turns, there's this beauty and this majesty. And him, like a hunter, can sense her. And he likes what he's sensing. Well, the night begins, and they begin to make a connection. And the connection is so sweet. The kind of sweet you dream of, or you hear about, my soul connection, my twin flame, the other. One can tell stories, one can tell jokes, one can sing. The night goes on. And it's timeless what they step into in this perfect union of shared experience and deep, artful, gifted expression of that experience. Day after day, the process continues. He goes out and he hunts. He comes home, and this beautiful, red-maned being is there when he gets home. Now, foxes have pelts. And so she says to him, "I'm going to hang my pelt over here." So there's like a clothesline. She hangs her pelt. This beautiful red pelt. Now, some of us may know that foxes have a certain scent. They have a certain aroma. It's pungent, it's strong, and begins to permeate throughout the entire little cabin, no matter what. If there's a fire, they're making tea, the scent begins to permeate. And it gets in his clothes, it gets in his cells, it gets everywhere. He goes out hunting and he can still smell this aroma. Well, he's not sure he likes that, so he comes home and in a fairly warm way says to her, "What do you think about putting that pelt outside? I mean, after all, it's fur. It'll be fine out there." She doesn't say anything. She smiles. The next day, he hints again. And she's there, and she's doing the dishes, and she doesn't say anything. Now, a slight irritation is beginning to build up. She's not responding to his request to take the pelt out of the house that is now smelling up everything. He goes out, he comes back, and this time maybe he had a little bit of Guinness. And he's not as smooth as he was. He sits down at the table and he says, like a man, like a hunter, bangs the table and says, "Get that pelt out of here. It's smelling up everything." She doesn't say anything. They go to bed. He wakes up in the morning and the pelt is gone. Says the woman. And it's said that he's been standing in that doorway, in that archway, ever since, waiting for her to return. So this original storyteller is teaching a course in mythology, and he says that this course that he's teaching essentially is a song to her. Across the snow is how he puts it, which is so beautiful. Across the snow for her to return. Because at some point in history, we asked her to leave. And we've been yearning for her and missing her ever since. I would say that the sutras are just that. They're a song to her to return. They're, from some of us, other foxes, they're telling her it's okay to return. It's a request for her to return. And I'd also say that there has been a fundamental ache or yearning that we felt ever since we asked her to leave. And I think it has a lot of diagnoses that are partial. You know, we call it suffering, we call it mental illness, anxiety, we call it grief. And that's probably the closest one we have, is grief at having cut away or lost this fundamental interior quiet tending to that comes from the feminine.